Hello there. My name is Jasom Jensai. Welcome to episode 7 of Star Wars Duels. Star Wars Duels is a series where I pretend two Star Wars characters duel and I explain what I think would happen and why by analyzing their fighting style, personality, and raw power. This video is about Yoda versus the Son of Mortis, the leader of the Jedi versus the embodiment of the dark side. The battlefield will be Tatooine. Master Yoda is over 800 years old. Yet through his powerful ally, the Force, he moves blindingly fast. Yoda duels Count Dooku, Sidious, and Ventress. Yoda has two phases to his strategy. If he can, Yoda will capture his opponent using the Force. This is why Yoda starts all his duels with his Force abilities. Yoda only continues with this strategy if his opponent is completely outmatched, which is why he pulled out his lightsaber to deal with Dooku. Yoda's first strategy is seen to work in his duel with Ventress. In the first episode of the Clone Wars, Ventress is about to attack Yoda when Yoda rips her lightsaber straight out of her hands. If he can, Yoda will disarm or capture his opponent using the Force. But as seen in his duel with actual Sith like Dooku and Sidious, Yoda is much more confident with his lightsaber abilities than with the Force. Yoda's dueling strategy is surprising considering his age. Yoda will leap at his opponent and try to finish them off as quickly as possible. Yoda's lightsaber form is obviously Ataru. Ataru is aggressive, fast, and relentless. It uses acrobatics, unarmed combat, along with the more traditional lightsaber techniques. But Yoda uses an extreme version of Ataru. Most Ataru users, such as Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Eeth Koth, only use acrobatics a few times per battle. Yoda, on the other hand, seems to never be touching the ground. Yoda uses his acrobatics to make up for his lack of reach. Yoda is only 2 feet tall, so without jumping, he could probably barely reach a human chest with the tip of his lightsaber. With his acrobatics, though, Yoda can attack his opponent from almost any angle, which gives him even more options than a usual lightsaber duelist. Most of Yoda's defense comes from his speed, his size, and his agility. But if an opponent pins him down, Yoda will briefly assume a defensive Form 3 style posture to defend himself. Yoda is the best lightsaber duelist ever. He outdueled Dooku, disarmed Sidious, and I believe he could beat Mace Windu in lightsaber combat. In Revenge of the Sith, Yoda disarmed Sidious. Yoda and Sidious are dueling with their lightsabers when the movie cuts to Obi-Wan versus Vader. When we get back to Yoda versus Sidious, Yoda has his lightsaber, but Sidious has lost his. In the novelization and screenplay, Yoda disarms Sidious, which lines up perfectly with what we see in the movie. In Episode 1 of the Clone Wars, Yoda defeats 3 tanks, at least 12 battle droids, and at least 9 super battle droids. Yoda is the best lightsaber duelist. He is strong, skilled, and nearly impossible to keep up with. Yoda's Force powers are the opposite of his lightsaber skills. Yoda's usage of the Force is not fast, but it is powerful. The fastest we see him use his powers is when he Force pushes Darth Sidious at the start of their duel. Although Yoda can unleash a Force push pretty quickly, it's not a remarkable amount of speed for a Force push. Yoda is not mediocre in his strength, though. Yoda can lift several tons of rocks while Count Dooku is pushing them down. He lifts an X-Wing, which probably weighs about 6 tons. Although lifting an X-Wing is impressive, after his duel with Dooku, Yoda lifts a giant pillar that weighed at least more than 10 tons. In addition to telekinesis, Yoda has mastered two Dominus, or Force absorption. Yoda easily absorbed and deflects Dooku's lightning, but that is nothing compared to the power he demonstrated against Sidious. Yoda could match the same lightning that literally knocked his lightsaber straight out of his hand. Yoda's two Dominus can match the deflective capabilities of a lightsaber. Although it is not applicable to combat, Yoda's greatest feat is his ability to maintain his consciousness after death by becoming a Force ghost. During his training, we see Yoda show his unbreakable will. Yoda is selfless, calm, and brave. His willpower is unstoppable. When Yoda is challenged, he believes he can overcome it, and that is why he never fails. He does not try to succeed, he simply does succeed. At least, that's what should happen. But no matter how hard he tries, Yoda is not unstoppable. Yoda has pushed the limits of what a Force user can do with the Force, but he could not defeat Sidious, the embodiment of a Sith Lord. Can he defeat the Son, the embodiment of the dark side? The Son of Mortis is not a Sith. He is the representation of the dark side. He is selfish, ambitious, and emotional. His passion gives him strength. His strength gives him power. Through his power he is victorious, and his victory gives him freedom. That was the plan. But in the end, he had no freedom, no victory, only death. He had nothing. The Son is powerful. He uses whatever powers he can to achieve his goals. He has telekinesis, force lightning, visions, and the unique ability to transform himself into a gargoyle. In his gargoyle form, the Son was able to outfly Anakin. Although the Son is much smaller than Anakin's ship, he knew the terrain better, and Anakin had no weapons on his ship. The Son in his gargoyle form is extremely fast, incredibly tough, and super strong. In his natural form, the Son is strong enough to throw Anakin several meters, tough enough to survive his own force lightning, and fast enough to seem to teleport right behind people. But the Son does not rely on his physical abilities. His power comes from his force abilities. The Son can force push Anakin, he can force push Obi-Wan and Ahsoka both at once, and he can even force push his sister. The Son's greatest power is his force lightning. The Son's force lightning is so powerful that it can overpower the defenses of the Father, who can block lightsabers with his bare hand. The Son is extremely powerful, even with Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Anakin, the Father, and the daughter all trying to keep the Son trapped on Mortis. The Son nearly escaped and killed both his father and the daughter. The Son is focused, cunning, and most importantly, powerful. But can he defeat Yoda? Yoda has 3 advantages. One of Yoda's advantages is his telekinesis. The Son is strong, but not that strong. The Son might be faster, but Yoda is definitely stronger with the Force. Unlike with telekinesis, the Son is physically stronger and tougher, but Yoda is much faster. In addition to his speed and telekinesis, Yoda's other advantage is his lightsaber. The Son is weaponless, and he has no formal training in combat. Yoda is the better lightsaber duelist, but he is not unbeatable. In his duel with Sidious, Yoda is defeated. Near the end of his duel with Sidious, Yoda jumps onto the same pod that Sidious is on. Yoda had disarmed Sidious, but Sidious doesn't need a laser sword to be powerful. Sidious unleashes his powerful force lightning on his little green friend. Yoda holds up his lightsaber, but it is too small. If Yoda had a larger lightsaber, he would have been able to hold back the lightning the same way Windu did, but Yoda's lightsaber is simply swept away by the sheer power of Sidious. Without a lightsaber to defend himself against lightning, Yoda will have to rely on his Force Absorb. However, I don't think that Yoda's Force Absorb will be able to match the Son's lightning. The Son overpowered the Father, who stopped a lightsaber, so although I think Yoda might be able to survive for a few seconds, if the Son unleashes a powerful sustained lightning attack, Yoda will be in trouble. Yoda sits, meditating, in the hot, bright, and dry desert. Although his surroundings seem barren, scorched, and lifeless, he can feel the life beneath the surface. Of course, there are the Banthas and Tusken Raiders a few kilometers to the east, and the Sarlacc less than 50 meters away. But most of Tatooine's life is made up of small insects meters below the sand, struggling for water, for life, and nothing more. Then Yoda feels something else. It is a great disturbance, a powerful force wielder, ruthless, selfish, and power-hungry. The Force itself is afraid of him. The darkness. The darkness is still a few kilometers away, but he will arrive soon. Yoda does not need his eyes to see the great winged beast flying towards him at the speed of a starfighter. Suddenly, with perfect timing, Yoda leaps from the ground and sprays sand in every direction. The gargoyle slams into the ground, blasting sand everywhere. Both Yoda and the Son are invisible, clouded by the sand whirling around them. But Yoda does not need to see. He blasts the Son backward. The Son, now in humanoid form, flips over backward and lands smoothly on his feet. Just as the dust begins to settle, Yoda flings a wave of sand at his adversary, who knocks it to the side with his own telekinesis. But Yoda follows up with another blast. This time the Son simply transforms into his gargoyle and weathers the mini sandstorm. With a terrifying roar, the Son charges towards the barely visible Jedi, but Yoda is too fast. He ignites his lightsaber and leaps to the side, avoiding the gargoyle's attack. Yoda instantly leaps back towards the gargoyle, swinging his lightsaber to slash off a wing. But the Son realizes the danger and rolls to the side. Before the Son can charge again, Yoda blasts him back with a powerful force push. Yoda leaps at the Son, but the Son, again in humanoid form, blasts bolts of lightning at the Jedi Master. Yoda changes course and leaps from side to side, zigzagging toward the Son, who is slowly backpedaling away from the Jedi and his fiery blade. After half a dozen of his blasts miss, the Son finally predicts Yoda's jump and forces the Jedi to block. Yoda easily steps into a powerful defensive posture and absorbs the short blast of power. but the Son immediately follows up with a much stronger, more powerful, less focused blast to overwhelm Yoda. As the Son laughs in triumph, his blast of lightning hits only sand. Yoda had leapt straight over the lightning and was coming down on his evil opponent. The Son's triumph quickly transforms into fear as he leaps backward, well over a dozen meters, and unleashes a whirlwind of sand at his enemy. Yoda closes his eyes and holds up his arm as he leaps through the cloud of dry and irritating dirt. Yoda continues his attack, leaping towards his opponent, getting closer and closer. As he backs away, the Son blasts whirlwinds of sand to slow Yoda's advance, bolts of lightning to pin him down, and force blasts to throw off his balance. But nothing stops Yoda. The Son's frustration increases. His anger gives him focus. His focus allows him to throw everything he has at his little green target. But Yoda continues on. Unclouded by emotion, Yoda feels the Son's attacks grow more powerful, more focused, and harder to avoid. But Yoda is not afraid. Yoda also feels the terrain around him, the sand, the lightning, the sun, and the Sarlacc. The Son's rage intensifies to a point of no return. He must defeat his enemy at all costs. He steps forward and unleashes a massive wave of sand so wide and so tall that Yoda has no way to avoid it. As Yoda bursts through the sand, the Son steps forward again and throws Yoda to the ground. Yoda lands on his feet, the powerful impact jarring his entire body, but he ignores it. As the Son screams in fury, he blasts a powerful blast of red lightning towards Yoda. The sound of thunder erupts from the dunes as Yoda hurls his lightsaber at his opponent. The brilliant green of the lightsaber is no match for the power of the lightning, and it is knocked aside. Although the lightsaber could not stop the lightning, it led it to the right while Yoda rolled to the left. The Son's lightning hits the sand, turning it to glass instantly, but he sends another, just as powerful blast at Yoda. Before the lightning reaches him, Yoda steps forward and extends his hand and focuses his energy into a powerful force blast. The Son flies backwards as Yoda is engulfed by a wave of red lightning, brighter than the setting suns. The Son is enraged and vows to kill Yoda even if it costs him his own life. He must have revenge. In the millisecond it took for this thought to happen, the Son landed in a large crater and began sliding towards the center. Suddenly, a dry tentacle wraps around the Son's waist, and his anger transforms into fear. He is in a Sarlacc pit. His fear becomes anger as he transforms into a gargoyle and rips the tentacle off him, but two more take their place. As the Son begins shredding the Sarlacc apart, Yoda slowly gets to his feet. He may have almost died, but Yoda never gives up, and he must finish this. As he begins to run toward the gargoyle, Yoda calls his lightsaber to him, igniting its brilliant green blade and lighting up the darkening sky. As the Son tears the life away from the once great Sarlacc, Yoda arrives. As the Son roars in triumph, he sees Yoda leaping towards him, his green lightsaber ignited. The Son blasts into the night sky to try and escape, but Yoda catches onto his back and stabs his blade straight through his heart. Yoda and the Son fall to the ground. Yoda is badly burned, badly beaten, and barely alive, but the Son is cold and lifeless. Yoda, the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, is greater than the Son of Mortis. The greatest Jedi of known history triumphs over the embodiment of the dark side. So with that, thank you so much for listening to what I had to say about Yoda versus the Son of Mortis. Now it's your turn. If you liked the video, hit the like button, check out the full playlist of all my Star Wars duels in the description, and subscribe for more videos just like this one. And of course, tell me in the comments, who do you think would win? What duel do you want to see most? And if you constructed a lightsaber, what color of blade would you have? And I hope you enjoyed this Baby Yoda picture.